Unmute myself, put the camera in front of me, put my text in front of me, and off we go again. So let me put the timer on. Success is getting up one more time. Never give up. Hello, my name is Lilly Gundacker. As a panelist, I will present my best practice successes and the decision-making processes that have contributed to effectively tackling the enormous crisis in my diverse areas of responsibility. I'm a consultant, mentor. Okay, now I need my slideshow and start from the beginning, and I need to share my screen. So screen one, share. So I'm a consultant, mentor, motivation and communication trainer. I was born in Australia and I worked as a laboratory assistant before traveling through Europe, and I worked in Switzerland as a nurse. When I came back to Australia after a year, I worked as a waitress in a country convention centre before I began nursing in Melbourne, Australia. A few years later, I worked for the architects of the new Parliament House in Canberra before doing 2 years of voluntary work in America. I'm now living in Austria with my husband, where I spent 10 years in the Home Office, supporting him as he was a travelling salesman. I have raised 5 sons who all became Vienna choir boys. Then I joined the Austrian labour market as a foreign correspondent for a mail order company and an organisation assistant for an educational institute. My crisis, okay, stop share here. Stop share. Good. Now I need my text. The other one. My crisis, unemployment, age 50. I faced unemployment a number of times. I became an English trainer. When I was teaching English to unemployed job seekers, I met a 30-year-old mother who had just spent a year at home with her baby. She felt excluded, unwanted, and worthless, believing that nobody would ever want to employ her again due to her 1 year away from the workforce. I shared my story of having spent 10 years at home with my children. I demonstrated how important it was to believe in yourself and invest in yourself. I believe in lifelong learning. Then I got a referral by my former boss and was employed as an international secretary database for an NGO. During that time, I continued doing a lot of volunteer work for WFWP, including NGO representative at the UN. I really believe it's so important to focus on giving. I really believe that it is so important to focus on giving. Next, crisis, staff cuts, short hours, health issues. Again, I became self-employed as a communication trainer, an entrepreneur. I was teaching English communication and customer orientation for tourism in Kitzbühel when I was invited to come in for an interview for a position at the UN, where I had been applying for almost 10 years. Age 55. International civil servant. 10 years I worked at the IAEA, mainly as a data assistant in information management for the Division of Nuclear Security in the Department of Safety and Security. Crisis? What is crisis? Crisis was my own deficit thinking. Crisis was believing I am not enough. I am not enough. I don't have enough. My pension is not enough. I don't have a degree. I'm talking to you today in the context of women entrepreneurship in the diaspora. As an Australian, we call ourselves expats. We Aussies call ourselves expats. My parents came from Czechoslovakia and they were called New Australians. In Australia, the foreigners, when I was growing up, my parents were foreigners, but they were never called foreign. Everyone was foreign, except for the Aborigines. In America, you could be called an alien. I'm living in Austria, so here I'm called a native speaker. In this country, other newcomers are typically called foreigners. My German is good, that helps. I don't look different, that helps. Best practice, learn the language. Respect the customs, keep your humor, invest in yourself, believe in yourself. Truth to tell, I've been living here longer than I lived in Australia. Self-employment has been blossoming over the past decade. I would say that in particular, in the last 2 years, the world economy has seen a big jump in online self-employment. So that would be something that I would really consider online self-employment. In this webinar, we've already heard from Beatrice and Beatrice and Marta. As we heard about particular aspects, something I can absolutely relate to and underline from Beatrice, from Beatrice, and from Marta. Decision-making processes, find your strengths. Many of my friends have I've got quite a community of other women, my friends, who are married to Austrians and living here, who've capitalized on their mother tongue, on their native speaking skills, wherever they come from. You could be teaching your language. As an English native speaker, that is absolutely my main advantage. However, I've noticed that many people who travel to another country often become English teachers. Even the Germans in Korea or in other countries. I would say English trainer is a fairly typical position for foreigners away from home. Other examples? Tourism. Japanese tourism in Australia, make it travel agency. Tour guide. Here in Vienna, we also see tourists from all over. Vienna is a great place to be a tour guide for your own country's people in their language, in your language. Diamond trading in the Netherlands. I have a friend who is in import-export for African diamonds to Japanese people. Many people who travel often become English teachers in foreign countries. I don't need that. I've already done that. Network marketing is another option which many women can do from home and part-time while taking care of their children. Do you know the cash flow quadrant? I want to put that in the PowerPoint. I believe in lifelong learning. I want to promote the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. What is rich? Rich is when you can do what you really want to do. My expertise is motivation, positive thinking, encouraging people, particularly women, to believe in themselves, to invest in themselves. The crisis is in your own attitude. I joined Toastmasters while I was working at the United Nations, and it was a launching pad for meeting people from all over the world because I was at the United Nations, right? I've learned that I'm most useful as a motivation trainer when I can share my own stories in a natural way. That's my niche. Since retiring from the International Civil Service, I can only reiterate the same mantra: lifelong learning, never give up, believe in yourself. I invested in a mentoring course and found a wonderful mentor who absolutely believed in me. She taught me that when I am passionate about serving my soulmates, if I want my soulmates to invest in themselves, I need to invest in myself. Learning by doing. I work with people who would love to work at the United Nations. As a former data assistant at the International Atomic Energy Agency, I cherish the international atmosphere, working with people from different cultures, religions, backgrounds, and contributing to really doing something to help people all around the world. People at the UN called me a networker and bridge builder, and with all the experience I got while working at the UN, I can support you in your next career step and guide you through the application process so that you'll have a much bigger chance to land your dream job. Success is getting up one more time. Never give up. Okay, that's 10 minutes. That's enough for me to expand on. It's a text, it's a recording, and I'll send that in and we'll go from there.